sideways.
We are not sideways. We are live. Oh, here.
We're live.
Hold on. Forgot that.
Thank you.
Let's get this organised. We are going live all around the world, all around the planet.
Hello.
Can you hear me? Oh, look, we've got a whole lot of people over there. Hello! But you got to look over there. Look, tonight we've got the Tuesday podcast. And tonight's special guest is Zoey Jones.
Hello.
All the way from the UK.
Yeah.
She's a singer, songwriter, involved in jazz music, electronic music, many things, and we're going to find out exactly what she's into this evening over the next hour. And we're going to play a couple of her songs because she's quite a good songwriter and performer. So we start off every podcast or every chat like this with the three questions of where you're from, how old are you, if you want to go there, and how did you get involved in music?
Where am I from? England.
Yes.
How old am I? 16, obviously.
Which part of England? Back up.
Lancashire. Born in Lancashire, but lived in London for a few years. Left England about 20 years ago, actually.
Right.
So I don't feel English at all anymore, to be honest. And how did I get into...
20 years ago?
20 years ago, yeah, pretty much. I lived in Portugal for about 6 years, and then the rest has been Asia. Yeah. And then how did I get into music? I used to be a ballet dancer. And it was kind of like white swan, black swan moments. And then when I went into this black swan world of Zoey, which was around 18 years old, I discovered clubs and nightlife and house music and all, the underworld of art and music. And I just was smitten.
You
and I
discovered the underground.
Yeah. The little white swan died. So I just then got this bug. I was like, I want to sing. I started working with DJs, and that was the beginning of the story.
The start or the end?
Well, yeah.
It's a great. But you were studying to be an actress, was that right, or something? But you were studying dance, but
performing arts.
Performing arts.
But everything: ballet, jazz, and then singing. But singing was more musical theatre and. Theatrical stuff, acting as well, but yeah, all super classical. Because
I saw you're involved in some movies at some point.
Yeah,
what was that about?
Yeah, did Now You See Me Too. I was the gangster's woman. I was going to say something else. Well, I can't say bitch here.
The mole, right? That's what they call it? The mole.
And then I've done a couple of other things in Asia and Thailand and whatever, and I auditioned for Wonder Woman as an Amazonian warrior, which was pretty cool. And I was training at the Warner Brothers Film Studio for about 4 months, doing the boot camp there and doing.
And what happened to that? That went ahead, or is it like?
Oh, the film industry is so fickle, fickle. Yeah. So you train. It was a great experience.
And that was in the UK, or?
Yeah. That was the UK. And then they just did like a final cut, and they ended up bringing in all these Olympian gold medalists and whatever who then got it. There was but the experience was unreal. But Now You See Me Too was cool. I worked with Woody Harrelson, Jesse Eisenberg, Daniel Radcliffe, and it's cool.
Did you get some star quality out of that one? Did you get some?
I did, yeah. I was on
fans out of that.
Yeah, I was working with them pretty closely, and with the director John M. Chu as well, and was on the official cast list. So it was cool. That's cool. Nice experience.
So what's happened since then? You got into music, right?
Yeah, no, music's my thing. Music-wise, there's just been loads that's been going on, really.
So since you left the school, since you got into the underground, what happened to the music from there? Because you said before you're actually a DJ too. So
Well, the DJ thing, actually, I bought my first decks, when I got this bug of like, oh my God, but the Bali world is beautiful, but it's so straight. You know, we have to train every day. We can't go out. We don't drink. We're not interested in men. We're not interested in anything but ballet and training every day.
Oh, yeah. Ballet.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying Bali, but
Bali. No, ballet.
I was wondering which part of Bali you're in.
Definitely more colourful than ballet.
It's pretty severe. Right?
So then when I discovered the world of music, the underworld, there was just so much vibrancy and colour, and it was, it was super attractive. And when I started going down that path, some of the DJs I started working with were pretty cool. But I bought
that was singing with them?
That was singing songwriting. Oh, yeah, that was singing songwriting. Well, I did the first ever Pop Idol competition as well. I'm like going back in my life and I'm like, where did we start? It was the first ever. So I got to the finals of that, and that was the thing that really kind of, because I got some, notoriety from that. And producers, etc., were calling me up and saying, oh, we want to work with you. And so that was my first kind of thing into the real music world.
And that's when you're still a teenager, is it? Or
yeah, I was 18. Yeah, I was 18.
So it's all pretty exciting.
Yeah, but going back to the DJ thing, I bought my first decks and they were vinyl. So I was playing with vinyl for a few years, but just at home, and never did anything seriously with that. And then I was singing for years, and it just got to a point where I just needed to have a break, and then I think it was like 5 years ago, and that's when I picked up the deck seriously as a female DJ. But that's another story. But yeah, music-wise, the first single I released in the dance world was with Mastic Soul, and we did a couple of tracks. One was Taking Me High, and one was One for Cover. And then I started working with some other guys when I was living in Portugal. I did lots of tours in Portugal, and more recently I've been working a lot with Rui da Silva.
Who's also Portuguese.
Yeah.
And quite famous.
Yeah.
Well, he's had a few hits anyway.
He was. I think he's re-released his first hit, Touch Me. He did like a remix with some younger dudes who have then, given him a lot of followers.
And that was with you? Or?
No, Touch Me was Cassandra.
Oh, okay. But you have it on your...
Vox? So I've done a bossa nova jazzy cover of that, which has just been licensed by Café Del Mar.
So what about the jazz thing, the jazz scene? How did you get involved in all that? Because you were singing in Hong Kong just for the last 5 years, right?
Yeah. So that really kind of happened in... A lot of my real music world happened in Portugal. So I went to Portugal with a dance company, actually. I was dabbling a little bit for a few years between dancing and singing, and then I took this dance contract in Portugal, did a couple of years there, and then wanted to stay in Portugal. Stopped the dancing, got signed to a modelling agency at the time, which was good. But then that was when I really kind of went into music, and I did the work with Rui and Mastic Soul, and I think I was probably the only tall white girl in Portugal. So any pianist or musician was like, hey, you want to do a gig with me? Do a gig with me? So I had the majority of my musician friends were more into like jazz, and there were a lot of jazz gigs. So
and that was in Lisbon? Or?
That was Lisbon, but I did lots of tours around the country.
Right. For how long? How long were you in Portugal?
About 6 years.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Parle português.
Eu falo português.
Falo português. Well, it comes in handy around here with all the Brazilians, right? I guess. Okay. So you're into the jazz.
The jazz was pretty much born for me in Portugal, and then I really realised that my voice just sat there. I did my training was more musical theatre, and all the house stuff I did before was, I think the DJs and producers I worked with, they just expected me to have this kind of like vocal house, big diva kind of voice, which I don't have. So I was always I spent years finding my voice, and then I discovered jazz, and I was like, oh, my voice really sits well here. It's really kind of smooth and jazzy and sensual
sexy.
and sexy, and I was like, this is it. So, and then that was the beginning of my jazz world.
Wow. You do have a few famous songs as well, right? Which we should maybe touch on right now. We could play... I meant to actually put some on before you came, but we all got carried away talking upstairs. But anyway, we'll get there because I haven't got anything already while you're talking. But jazz kind of works in with lounge music, right? Like house, lounge.
Yeah. So
how did you get involved in that part of it?
Well, that was it. I love jazz, but I did so many gigs, and it got to a point where I just felt like I don't know how to explain it. It just too many people did it. Especially in Asia, every lounge you go to, every hotel, every jazz club, every bar, it's the same music, the same songs, the same, and I was like, ugh, can't do this anymore.
And this was recently, or
this is like the past 10 decade.
Yeah. But because you're in Hong Kong, but also Portugal.
Well, I left Portugal about 11 years ago and came to Asia. So I've been in Asia for about 11 years.
Oh, where were you before Hong Kong? Or was that the whole time in Hong Kong?
No. When I first came to Asia, it was Cambodia.
Cambodia, one of my favourite places.
Really?
Well, I went there last year.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Phnom Penh.
Yeah, I went to Phnom Penh. That was the first place.
And that was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it
was pretty wild then.
Yeah, it was wild, but it was amazing. So it's a huge culture shock, and but yeah, pretty amazing. And just everything kind of spiraled from there. And I went to Singapore and Malaysia and lots of Thailand and Hong Kong.
So Phnom Penh was the base, and you?
No, that was just the first stop.
All right.
So I did 6 weeks there.
Oh, okay.
And then I went to Siem Reap for a few months. And then it was, Malaysia for a few months, and then Singapore for a few months, and Hong Kong.
So that's pretty cool, right? Getting around, and it's like backpacking, but you actually got a reason to be there.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. And doing it glam as well. I had some nice gigs. Cambodia, the first gig, the clientele was like the king of Cambodia every night. He'd come in with his entourage. And
where was that? In hotel?
Fancy hotel? No, it was a jazz bar called Studio 182. It's not open anymore, but... Yeah, and then did, lots of fancy events for, Diageo or whatever it was, fancy jewellery things or things.
For sure.
Or Hermes or Chanel or, some nice brands and... Glam
kind of scene.
So
it was similar to Portugal. You were suddenly in demand. Is that it?
Yeah, but more so.
I
think Asia, there's been a lot of non-stop working, so this kind of experience that we're all experiencing right now is okay for me just to have a bit of time out.
The last 10 years were pretty full on, weren't they?
Yeah.
Well, before the pandemic.
Yeah,
It seemed like everything was going gangbusters.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the last 5 years you're in Hong Kong. Shanghai and all this as well? China?
No, a little bit of China. Chongqing. Is that how you pronounce it? Chongqing? I don't know. I know.
Sounds very Chinese.
Yeah, it was. Oh my God. That was only a week, but it was a week too long. And that's...
So they're like residencies, right? Or
they just sort of... Yeah, there's been...
Special event go for a weekend or something?
Yeah, there's been special events, there's been residencies, there's been private things, there's been festivals. I did Sing Jazz Fest, I did F1 a few years, the yacht shows in Singapore, so...
Done it all. What an honour to have you here on the radio tonight. Now... That brings us... What about Indonesia? Did you, in those travels, did you come to Indonesia or not?
No. So, no, I the first time I came to Indonesia was last year. I was singing in Singapore I did a couple of gigs at the Intercon and then the yacht show. And then after that, I thought, where have I not been to in Asia? And it was Indonesia. So I came here.
Oh.
And it was a bit bonkers here.
This was... when was this?
It was last April, a year ago.
A year ago.
Yeah. So
not
it was,
this year.
No.
So, yeah.
Pre-COVID. So it was crazy, full on.
Oh, Jakarta.
Touristy. No, Bali.
Oh.
Bali.
Oh, okay. So you had an experience here already.
Yeah.
You knew what it was like.
Yeah.
Sort of. And what did you think of it? Not much.
It was a bit too crazy. I mean, the traffic. The traffic was very trafficky.
crazy,
there was
you could
lots
say.
of tourists, and even though I was, I guess, a tourist.
Mm.
And yeah, I don't know. And then coming
And
back.
where were you staying on that first trip?
Oh, I just picked some random hotels.
In Kuta, Seminyak?
Oh no, I think Seminyak. Yeah, Seminyak, and then Ubud.
Right.
Yeah, it was okay, but I mean, I must say now is
well, it's more interesting, isn't it? Now?
Yeah,
and it's kind of similar to back when I first came.
Well, it's got that Cambodia feel actually.
Mm.
Yeah.
Sure, it's a bit more relaxed, right? A bit more local.
Yeah.
So
nice.
this year, what brought you to Bali earlier this year?
Oh, COVID.
Mm.
I left Hong Kong and I couldn't go back, so I had 2 days to figure out where to go and lock down. So I arrived in Bali. Everywhere was closing, so I arrived in Bali with my suitcase and then began this new adventure in this on this island. Not
So
really
you're leaving Hong Kong because you'd finished a job.
Yeah.
And
so I had to leave because of my visa. You've got to go out and then come back in and stamp it. But I couldn't go back in because I would have gone back in as a tourist.
But you'd already been here a year before and you didn't think much of it. So why did you come here?
Because every country was closing. It got to the point where it was Singapore or England.
No, but what I mean is from Hong Kong.
So
you left Hong Kong and came here.
I couldn't.
Or not?
No, I went to Singapore
because
I couldn't go back to Hong Kong. I was going to go to Thailand. Couldn't go to Thailand. I had to do 2 weeks quarantine outside. So I thought, well, I'll go to Singapore to stay with a couple of friends, and then everywhere was closing. And I was like, oh, I was going to go to Singapore and then Bali for a couple of days and then to Thailand, but.
And you couldn't get back to Hong Kong.
No, and still not. But that's good. I'm good with that. I'm so good with that.
Forget that. Is that right? Zoey Jones? Is it C, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Calandria. Are we really kind of on the side there?
Oh, shit. That wasn't my name. Oh, yes. DJST just made that comment. I was supposed to be through the beat. But anyway. No worries. So, okay, back in March, you came and you arrived in Bali after being in Singapore. For
2 days. And I got here just before the lockdown. So, I got the last VOA, literally, and the last flight in. I think they had 4 VOAs, and I got one of those, so I was pretty lucky. And then experienced it all, because everything really locked down after Nyepi, didn't it?
That's right, it's nippy.
Yeah, and then I just thought, okay, this is a new home now.
Wow, that's pretty exciting.
Yeah,
so it's a pretty wild lifestyle you lead, isn't it? It's kind of like being on the fringe of the Wild West, really. But that's the music business, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
I guess.
And I'm so used to traveling, but. And yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, it's quite nice to be somewhere that's just super chilled, and Bali is very chilled right now. So
it's kind of lucky, really, because you could have ended up anywhere too, around the world at that point, but you happened to end up here. And I've got to, there's many people that talk about this, the way that Bali attracts people and rejects them or accepts them, and that's an interesting story how you could end up anywhere and you end up here. Yeah. And it just happens to be the best time to be here in many ways. Besides, unless you're involved in tourism and you haven't got any money and you're suddenly terribly broke, which many people are, and it hasn't. And you wouldn't say that it's easy for everyone right now, but it is one of the best times to be here, and still is. Yeah. And what have you done since March?
Oh, well, obviously no gigs. I was doing a bit of streaming. I've been just really focusing on my releasing, actually, and promotion, and really, obviously, everything's online now, so really building up, my image, my brand, my everything. Focusing on releases, to be honest.
Is that becoming more focused because of this period?
Yeah. I think
so who are you now? Is it something different from before you arrived, or is it just pushing the same agenda?
No, absolutely. Yeah, no, I'm definitely pushing my musical brand in more of this kind of beach clubby kind of vibe, this deep house, down tempo electronic musical vibe. So, and I think it sits well with Bali, with the beach clubs, even though, you know, places are just starting to open.
And is that like that's not really a DJing thing, it's more producing, I imagine.
Yeah.
But I have seen people actually that DJ and sing, sing over the top.
Well, I was doing a lot of that in Thailand and like where? Hong Kong.
That place.
That place, yeah.
Does that work, or is it? It's always a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know.
Weird.
Yeah, I prefer one or the other, obviously. But
I've seen the the famous the female singers that can't remember any of their names right now, but it's kind of a bit weird when they stand up in front of the DJ and start singing.
Yeah.
You know, even it's when they're one of their famous songs. You know,
yeah.
And it's still a bit flat. It's not like having a full band or a full thing going on.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think that's part of my thing now is, I've been working a lot on the online presence, and I've been doing a little bit of teaching as well. If anyone wants to learn how to sing, call me. Little pitch there.
Or make videos.
Or make videos.
As far as I've seen lately.
I do lots of videos.
Because you're quite prolific videographer.
Well, this is another thing I've really been working on during lockdown is just trying to get into like another field creatively. And that's it. Videography, film. I've done my own music videos, the past couple of music videos, so it's kind of nice.
And they're very cool. But
you
need some material for that. So where do you get the footage from? You're filming the whole thing? But it's you.
No.
It's you they're filming.
Sometimes I do... Sometimes, so Ready to Run I just did all on my own. So, good tripod.
All right. It's a bit
get the settings right, press record, and
it's
do
a bit like this one up here.
Well, yeah, I guess so. And then the last one, I got some guys to hold the camera and help me out a little bit, and then I just did the directing and the editing, which takes forever, but I love it actually.
It's like complicated.
Yeah, but it's so you just like hours and days just whiz by. It's similar to music production, I guess. And when you get into it and. Yeah, it's nice.
And you use a lot of effects and...
Yeah.
What programs do you use?
Final Cut Pro.
Okay.
And for music, Logic. But I'm still learning with Logic.
And you are producing your own music?
I'm not relying on my productions yet. Like, I do like the basis of it, and then I'll write a song, but then I'll bring in a good, like a serious producer to... Really, because it can't be weak. The production it
has to be fully engineered.
Yeah,
like
it's
this
got to be,
one.
because the mastering and the mixing, I just want like the really professional set of ears to be like, yeah, this is how it's going to be. But initially, my ideas, my chord progressions, or whatever it is, But eventually, I want to be able to do the works, all of it. Yeah,
that sounds very complicated too. But, we're going to play a track, or I don't know, we'll start playing, then talk over the top of it.
Okay.
That's not exactly. What about the ones you sent me before? Oops, let's have a look here.
Well, Just Let Me is the latest one that I released.
This one, here we are. Now let's start with this one, 1,000 Miles, which was
I did that with
released earlier this year, right?
Yeah, in May.
Here?
Yes.
How exciting.
Yes.
This is your first Bali track.
Yeah.
Is that on? Are we still on? Yeah, okay. What happens if I click that? It works? Okay. We've got to get some volume up. Hopefully this thing is off. Yeah, not really. Hold on. We're going to have to do that again, folks. We'll cut this out of the...
So technical.
What's happening? We'll do that again. Bear with us, folks. Bear with us. What is this? Oh, it's on a different thing. Okay. No, that's not right. We can't do that because it's not going to the right account. So where is this here? Touch.
It's there. That one.
That one?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Will that play?
That will play. Here we go. Hopefully.
Yeah.
So what's this one?
So this one I wrote with thru.
1,000 Miles.
I thought it was quite appropriate to release at the beginning of COVID because it's about being away from your loved one, I guess, and you're imagining being with them, and yeah.
So who are your loved ones in after 20 years on the road?
Oh God.
In
my dog.
How
That's
your
it.
new dog. How often do you get back to the UK?
I don't rush home, put it that way.
Sure
I was back a couple of years ago. Actually, when I was working with Rui, that was the last time. So.
And this is written by whom?
Well, I wrote it. All the lyrics are me, and Rui DeSilva did the production. But we co-wrote the music, but he did all the programming and.
Well, it sounds pretty cool, and it's been picked up by different compilations, right?
Yeah. Well, more my song, which maybe we'll listen to.
Okay,
next.
we'll
That's
listen to that
been
next.
picked up by more playlists.
All right. Okay.
1,000 Miles, I'm not too sure about. Rui's got control over that one, so I'm just leaving him to it. But
All right, let's have a little listen. Yeah. Okay. I don't know. Yeah. So, what are you more into, like electronic music or live music? Like at home, for example, what do you listen to?
Oh, bit of everything. So the morning, I put jazz on, and then this kind of vibe, more neo soul, R&B, house. I mean, and then if I go to a club, I like real dancey stuff, obviously, but like techno and proper house. But yeah, at home, gotta be chilled, gotta be sexy, chill, soulful, nourishing, nice nourishing music.
And live music, do you get into seeing bands play live and all this?
At home?
No, like
online?
when you go out or not here obviously lately.
Now
but
no, because that was my life, For as I said in especially Asia, like the past 10 years, there's been so much work that I got a little bit like.
And that was all live, right?
All live, and in Hong Kong sometimes it was 3 gigs a day.
Wow.
So when I came here, it's just like, I'm just gonna go on my computer and do some online work, listen to house music, and the idea of doing a gig or the idea of going to a gig was just like, I've just overdone it. But I don't know. Now I'm super up for seeing what's out there and.
And how about Bali? Since it's been opening up since July, I guess. Have you been going out and seeing what's going on?
A little bit. How much can we talk about this?
The nitty-gritty is okay.
Oh, really? Yeah, I mean, live music-wise, I've been to a couple of gigs, which was local bands, which was kind of nice. And then been to
anywhere in particular, like Ryoshi on a Monday night.
Was it I think is that the House
Rio?
of Jazz?
Yeah,
with Rio.
Right. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, it's a famous Monday night in town.
Yeah, so I met him years ago. Met him at the Penang Island Jazz Festival. We were both singing there. So I reunited with him after 13 years or whatever.
All right.
And so saw him there.
That's always an enjoyable night, right?
Yeah.
I guess.
And then out clubbing, just a little bit of the Lawn and where else have I been? Can't remember.
Yeah, just taking it easy.
Try.
Well, the nightlife's not really powering so much lately. There's been bigger years.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
I haven't experienced that, but yeah, I can imagine. I've heard the rumors of Bali.
But every weekend you can find a bit of underground going on somewhere.
Yeah, I'm sure.
You have to follow the Beat magazine to
find out
where to go. I guess. So original music. This is all. You've always been making original music.
I love songwriting. Yeah. And of course, the older I get, the more experiences I have. I just, it's just like, just get it out as music, get it out on paper, get it out as a vibe, a song. And that's my art form. As an artist, I think I prefer showing my art as a songwriter now. Going back to your question about, do you prefer like listening to music, house music, or live gigs? Whereas before, my art was really going out and singing and people knowing me as a live singer. But now I really want to be known as more of a singer-songwriter. So sure. I think I can tell more of a story there. Instead of singing covers all the time, even though you put your interpretation in, it still doesn't feel genuine enough. Whereas doing my own work, doing my own writing, and releasing that, and then hearing feedback, it feels so much more special.
Do you get a chance, or have you had a chance to play it out live, like your own stuff?
Not
so far.
Not really, actually. No, but again, it's because one, I was super chocker busy in Hong Kong. Really, that was the last place I was for a while.
So there's no place to do your own thing in Hong Kong. Not
really. There's so much kind of corporate stuff and high end stuff, and they tell you what they want to hear and the songs you want to play, and then then of course come here and we're in lockdown. So I've done stuff online with my original stuff, but no live gigs. And I think part of having this time to try new things or whatever, I think one thing that I want to do is try and figure out a nice little project for when things are up and running, and I get my little singing guitars and get the show on the road.
Well, you don't want to do it beforehand, or you suddenly find you get the show on the door, or it costs you a lot of money, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I imagine you could get up at somewhere like Ryoshi on a Monday and belt out a song.
Yeah,
especially if you know Rio already.
Yeah, the last part of his set he turned into a little jam sesh. This was weeks ago actually. So I had a little sing song, which is quite nice. It's the first time I've sung in a while.
Because I guess that's how it all works, right? In the live music scene, you kind of just get up and occasionally sing, and then connect with this person, that person.
Yeah, that's how you get your audience.
Absolutely. Before you know it, you got a band together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there's a lot of musicians in town, for sure.
Yeah.
And a lot of people that are involved in electronic music too, that are musicians, and they do have their own bands as well.
Yeah.
Which could be of interest to you. So, what about the better moments over your career? What are your highlights there?
Well, now with the songwriting, this is really like my point of flourishing. I feel finally I've found my niche, and so that really means a lot to me, and the feedback that I'm getting is just really nice. But I've just, like I said earlier, one of my songs has just been licensed. Well, it's a cover song, but it's just been licensed to Cafe Del Mar. So that's a little dream come true. Cafe Del Mar, the brand, the music has always been one of the inspirations that got me into music. So that's pretty amazing. Working with Rui was, Touch Me was the first club hit I ever fell in love with, and then ended up working with him was another little dream come true. And then the work I've done, the traveling I've done, and it's just been crazy.
Did you
and some music festivals.
Play with him? Does Rui play live or anything? Or is he
we were planning on doing 1,000 Miles. We were planning on doing a big project, and then
everything
doing a big tour with that, but everything's just seriously on hold right now, and I'm here and he's in London, so I don't know, we'll see what happens, but yeah, done some DJ gigs where he's been DJing and I've been singing. I sang at Rock in Rio in Portugal, which was amazing.
What's Rock in Rio?
What's Rock in Rio? It's like one of the biggest music festivals in the world.
I'm just a Bali boy.
Yeah, it's pretty, so... And I sang my debut album there, so that was cool. And it was the same day's bill as, I don't know, it was old school, so it's Leona Lewis and Elton John and too many DJs were playing.
Right.
It's like, they've got
crossover.
Yeah, they've got the
music.
main stage is pop, and then they've got the sunset stage, which is more kind of neo soul or jazz or alternative, and then they've got the electronic tent, but big names. It's really cool. So that was cool.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
And what about in life? What's your highlights during your life so far?
Oh Oh my
coming
God.
to Bali.
Yeah, this is like a huge thing. This is a huge thing. I feel like I'm going through a complete, as I'm sure many people are, but for me personally, this is definitely a huge new chapter for me. You know, in every way. So this really means a lot to me. It's very special being
And
here.
you see Bali being a big part of your life in the future?
Yeah. Well, I've got my little doggy as well, so she's definitely going to keep me here. You know, and I love the vibe. You know, I've got some beautiful friends. When things get back to normal, I can start working, singing, and yeah, I really think Bali's.
It could be a while before it actually.
But we've
the work around
the
pain work to be able to live from it, I think. But you know, DJing, there's still, you know, maybe you should bring out your decks and get some decks going, because there's a lot of
some twitching.
There's still twitching as well. So you know, making thousands on Twitch.
But yeah, I mean, it's kind of forcing me to look at other things as well. Like, you know, everyone's doing online streaming. I'm doing a bit of teaching. I'm trying to start a business online. Well, I've got a business in Hong Kong, but I'm trying to get that online for teaching. There's a lot of other things that I'm trying to look into as well. So, but it's kind of, you know, I could be scared at not being able to sing or work, but it's kind of nice being forced into a new direction of being like, I ain't got no choice. So we'll see what happens.
Well, that's a good thing about the pandemic, in my opinion, is how everybody's forced to rethink what they're doing.
Yeah. Well, and in England, they're saying, you know, to all the artists, you just got to retrain.
What?
We're not supporting you.
To be a train driver or something.
Yeah.
Which is, but it's hard, you know, it'll all be over within whatever time it is. It's not going to be around forever, the pandemic, so life eventually will
it's going to be interesting to see how everything really evolves though and changes. I think, especially the music world and the entertainment industry.
Well, it's I've been watching all the videos, and you know, after the last big pandemic, the 1919-20 pandemic, you know, it was the Roaring '20s. So you know, I think things are going to pick up very quickly once it all comes back, and we're, you know, it's going to go gangbusters again. Yeah. So hold on.
In a different direction. Yeah, absolutely. It's
going
to be interesting.
You know, we'll see what happens with that. But what about Bali? It's like your favourite things in Bali. Why do you really like being in Bali? What's going on here?
Well, again, it's just weird because last year when I came here, I didn't feel it. I didn't dig it. I didn't, you know, and Bali is super famous, and a lot of people were saying, you know, because I was in Hong Kong, the protests hit prior to COVID. Obviously, this was another conspiracy theory, but protests hit, so work dried up, and I was like, okay, I don't know what to do. And a lot of people were saying, try Bali, and this was last year.
What was happening there during the, you know, the demonstrations and crackdown? Were you near that?
Nothing. Yeah, very, very
was
near.
Was it scary?
You just got used to it. It was kind of exciting. Yeah. Scary.
It went on for a while.
Yeah, it went on for a long time.
You're in an apartment and you look down, there's all
you just
demos going on, people getting beaten up or something.
Yeah, it's just awful, you know, and the gas bombs going off, and it was pretty full on and sad, and you know, tankers and police everywhere, and it was full on. But that was my initial move. Well, not move, but trying out Bali last year, and because everyone said, you'll love it, you know, you'll try Bali, and that's last year's version of Bali didn't really resonate so well with me. So, but then being kind of, I don't know how to say it without offending Bali, but like being forced with COVID to come here, it's just interesting how, I mean, I really feel like I need to be here now. It's weird. It's like what you said earlier about it either accepts you or it doesn't, and it feel like Bali brought me back here, and it's kind of, so everything about it, I'm like,
there's a reason for everything.
Yeah.
But I see often people that come here and they try to be here, but they just don't get it to work, and they spin out of town again. So it's a funny kind of place, and it's very spiritual, and but I think now especially, you know, because obviously a lot of people can't be here, but I feel that people are here are just true Bali expats, you know, and whether you've been here for years or they're here for a spiritual reason, and I just feel like the
the expat community is just super nice, actually. Super real, super authentic.
Well, especially now.
The villas are nice, the prices are nice.
Everything's nice around there. You know, especially because there's no... It's only... The foreigners you see here are only expats. Or like you, they're stuck here or something. Or, they're forced to stay here.
I wouldn't say I'm stuck here now, because I could go back if I wanted to. Yeah.
I don't mean stuck, but you're forced to be here.
Yeah. I got here
especially during that first March to, July or August, whatever it was, it was only the people that are kind of here.
Yeah.
It's not tourists.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was cool too. I liked it. I liked, when you went out, you knew everybody.
Yeah.
Not that you knew them, but you could get to know them because they lived here. So
it's changing a bit now.
Now it's picking up a bit of pace. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
But mainly in a local, the domestic tourist market. Still not foreigners. Foreigners aren't officially allowed in, even though they seem to be getting in if they've got the money to get in.
Yeah.
But not many. So it's still nice when you go out now around Bali and the traps and the restaurants and the clubs. It's a very local feel.
Yeah.
And like buddies and all the older crew I know.
Yeah.
So that's kind of fun. Before you kind of got lost in the whole circus.
And that's how I felt last year. So it's very special to be here. And I think nearly everything, I love the locals, I love the expats, I love the fact, everywhere you go you're near to the beach, the food's great.
Yeah.
The weather's pretty nice.
Do you like the Indonesian food? Sort of. Not yet.
I've not tried much. Yeah, not really. No.
Yeah. You have to.
I don't want to.
You have to kind of become accustomed to it, and then you don't. You eat that most days.
Nasi goreng's okay.
Yeah, that's a very typical tourist kind of thing to get involved in at first, and then you get into nasi campur, which is the other one where you pick and choose.
Oh.
Yeah, but I know, from friends that come here and stuff, and they haven't had a lot of experience. It's like, oh my god, you eat that stuff? That is actually good.
What is that?
Enak, as they say in the local language. So it doesn't look like you're going back to England in a hurry.
No. And they're just going into another lockdown as well.
Yeah.
No, if I went back to England, I'd be paying, 10 times the price of my thingy now, and I'd be stuck in a little flat, and I'd be, the weather would be crap. And
exactly.
I'd be like, what am I
the
doing?
Sun's gone. 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, it's gone. Life is pretty... And you got nowhere to go. Could you imagine?
Yeah, I know.
Jesus.
Yeah, no way. No, thank you. No, thanks. Absolutely.
All the people listening there, good luck with that.
Sorry, England.
So what about your latest track? What's it called?
Just Let Me.
This one. Just Let Me. So tell us something about Just Let Me.
Well, this one is my latest original composition, and it's a super nice, chilled, beach clubby vibe, deep house track.
Right.
Sade-esque with the vocals, and it's doing super well. It's been picked up by Ten Snake has put it on his playlist. FTV, Fashion TV, Florito. There's been quite a few.
FTV kind of uses it on their TV, or
they just have playlists on Spotify and.
Oh, okay. But I guess they use them.
If they put it on their if they put it on their TV, they'd have to, like the Cafe Del Mar thing with the licensing. Then I'd have the little contract that comes through saying, "Can you please sign this?"
Thank you. Ching, ching. Just like Cafe Del Mar pays you something for it, or is it just
they give you an advance?
Kind of. That's cool.
Yeah.
So not only is it good for your career or your fame, you also get some money out of it. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And what about these other ones? Because I saw there was a whole list of compilations or somebody playing it.
Yeah.
What are they? Are they like real compilation records or?
Well, the real compilation record is the one from Cafe Del Mar. So the playlist on Spotify, I mean, I'm still trying to understand all of this, but that's really how you get your music out there and heard, and you get it in front of the curators, i.e., Ten Snake or DJs or whatever, and then they're people listen to it and
they call you up and
then they want to put it on their playlist, and then you get the streams, and that's how you get your pocket money and blah blah blah. And
then you get your collaborations with other famous people. And,
I guess so. Yeah.
Suddenly it's you're in Ibiza, mate. The headlining act of some crazy place. Online.
Streaming Ibiza. But Cafe Del Mar, it's an official compilation. So, got the contract, the paperwork, and the advance.
Do you think that live streaming is doing much for people? Like, you see a lot of it going on.
Well, I don't know. Yeah.
Like festivals. Like these full-on festivals online.
I know. But it's weird because I think, I would guess like England, okay, they're going into a serious lockdown again. So yes, people still need their fix of that vibe, the energy. But part of me doesn't really understand because you still have like pre-recorded concerts or this or that, but it's the new thing. We've got to believe it. And I'm a musician, so I'm hoping people believe in it.
It's going to happen.
But Bali, no. I mean, people are like, I'm going out. I'm going to the pub. I'm going to the Lord. I'm going.
Yeah. I might. If it suddenly pops up in front of your face and you're online and you've got nothing else to do, you might click on it. But I could never imagine anyone just, okay, at 8 o'clock I've got to sit down and watch the festival.
I know, but there are. I mean, again, like I think places like maybe England where people are just stuck of things to do. I think it's different. It's a different story, and people probably will put it in their calendar. And a couple of live streams I've done, people have been like, I was there. You were 5 minutes late, but I was there.
Yeah. So and it's also recorded, so they put it up on YouTube and stuff later. I guess I'd imagine.
Yeah, but there was one guy, DJ in America, and I think he's more hip hop, but he got super famous by streaming, and he was getting celebrities, hundreds of thousands of people coming in and religiously, and then he got into the news because of it, and so and he's just there in his room and he's just playing a few tracks but
anything
people
can blow
dig
it. Just as always, just being the first and the greatest, I guess, is the big thing. And before you know it, I can't imagine after this pandemic that anybody's going to be doing any festivals online, but it'll be just within this period now, sort of stuck in a like a YouTube time capsule.
It's kind of cute though in a way. It makes us, of course it's a really difficult situation, but it's kind of, it makes the musician world or just the whole world feel like a proper little community. The fact that we're all just like watching this festival or whatever on this TV screen, or and whereas you go to a real festival and only a few people can go, or a limited amount of people can go, and so I kind of like that about it. It's like,
maybe we should organise a festival.
Next
Tuesday. Anyway, what are we doing? The Just Let Me. So what's the song about?
About love. Of course. You're like,
Just let me. What's the chorus?
Just let me love you. So it's like the initial kind of, you've been dating for a few months and everything's fun and flirty and happy, and it's like, I want to know what's going on next, and I'm in love with you, and I want to know if you love me back, but just kind of
let me love you.
Yeah, or basically dating a commitment phobe who doesn't want to love you back and you're madly in love with him.
Bad. I know a few of them around the place. There's probably a few watching right now. Anyway, so let's listen to it. Anyway, maybe we should just go out. Thanks for joining the show. I hope it all works out.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, yes. It's been awesome.
Zoey Jones, look forward to seeing you playing around the place. Look forward to seeing your name in the Beat magazine. Playing down at Shishi or the Lawn. Anyway, so want to introduce this song?
Yeah, this is Just Let Me. Enjoy it. Stream on Spotify, and the music video is on YouTube. There you go.
All right. Is that it?
That was nice. It's a bit delayed. Cheers.
Just let me Am I dreaming? If this is a real, I would know. With this energy that we're feeling, seems like everything's on a roll. You come into my life, made me realize beauty that's inside. Magic stars collide in total ecstasy. Sets our spirits free. Truth we cannot hide when our hearts decide. Just let me love you. Just let me be true. Open your heart to me. This will feel so new. Just let me love you. Just let me be true. Open your heart to me. This will feel so new. Just let me love you. Just let me love you. Just let me be true. Just let me be true. Just let me love you. Just let me love you. Just let me be true. Just let me be true. Watching over me until midnight. Feel the energy through my soul. Perfect mystery. Under moonlight, feel my body lose control. Just let me love you. Just let me be true. Open your heart to me. This will feel so new. Just let me love you. Just let me love. Just let me be. Just let me be true. Just let me be true. Open your heart. Just let me love you. Just let me love. This will feel so. Just let me be true. Just let me be true. Just let me love. Just let me love you. Just let me love. Just let me be. Just let me be true. Just let me be true. Open your heart. Just let me love you. Just let me love. This will feel so. Just let me be true. Just let me be true. Just let me love you. Just let me love you. Just let me be true. Just let me be true. Just let me love you. Just
You are listening to the Beat Radio Bali. A one-way ticket.
A one-way ticket.
A one-way ticket.
To the
underground.
Anta konyoba,